If you have been traveling the same way for the past 5 years, you are about to get an expensive wake-up call. The airline industry has spent the last 12 months quietly rewriting its fee structure. And I am not talking about baggage fees going up a few dollars. I am talking about entirely new categories of charges that did not exist before. Charges for picking your seat. Charges for bringing a normal-sized bag. Charges for standing in the wrong line. Even charges for needing a little extra time to board. These fees are designed to be invisible until you are standing at the counter with your credit card out, wondering how a simple flight suddenly costs twice what you budgeted. Here is what the airlines are counting on. They are counting on you not knowing. They are counting on you assuming the rules are the same as last year. They are counting on you being too polite to push back. Well, today we are going to change that. I have spent the last month going through the fine print of every major airline's 2026 fee schedule. I have read the Department of Transportation filings. I have talked to gate agents and airport workers who see these fees applied every single day. What I found is going to save you hundreds of dollars on your next trip. We are going to cover 15 hidden fees that are rolling out in 2026, the exact tactics airlines use to trap you into paying, and the simple phrases and strategies that make these fees disappear. Grab something to write with. This is information you cannot afford to miss. Number 1. The seat selection surprise. Let us start with the fee that catches more travelers off guard than any other. You book your flight. You get a confirmation email. You think you are done. Then you go to check in and discover that you have been assigned a middle seat in the back of the plane. If you want to sit with your spouse or in an aisle seat, you now have to pay. This is not new. But what is new in 2026 is how aggressively airlines are weaponizing seat assignments. The booking systems have gotten smarter. They deliberately scatter families and couples across the plane during initial booking. The algorithm knows that you will pay to sit together. On some airlines, basic economy tickets now come with what they call carrier-assigned seating. This means you do not find out where you are sitting until you check in, sometimes just 24 hours before your flight. By that point, the only free seats left are middles in the last row by the lavatory. Everything else costs money. The fees are not small. Window and aisle seats in standard economy can run $15 to $40 each way per person. Exit rows and extra legroom seats can hit $60 to $90. If you are traveling as a couple on a round trip, you could easily spend over $100 just to sit next to each other. The fix requires acting early and knowing your rights. First, book directly through the airline website, not through third-party sites. Airlines often release better seat inventory to direct bookings. Second, check in exactly when the window opens, usually 24 hours before departure. The earlier you check in, the better your free seat options. Third, and this is important, if you are traveling with a child under 13, federal guidelines now push airlines to seat you together at no charge. You have to ask for it. Call the airline after booking and specifically request adjacent seating for your minor child. They will not volunteer this. You must ask. For seniors who need aisle seats for medical reasons, like frequent bathroom needs or mobility issues, you can request this as a disability accommodation. Under the Air Carrier Access Act, airlines must make reasonable accommodations. Call the Disability Assistance Line, not the regular booking line, and explain your medical need for an aisle seat. This often gets you the seat for free. Number 2. The carry-on crackdown. For decades, the standard carry-on was included with your ticket. That era is ending faster than most travelers realize. In 2026, nearly every major U.S. airline now sells a fare class where carry-on bags cost extra. They call these fares basic economy or saver fares. They look like great deals until you realize that the roller bag you have always brought for free now costs $30 to $45 each way. But here is where it gets sneaky. The booking websites show you the basic fare first because it looks cheaper. The fare that includes your carry-on is hidden behind a click or displayed as an upgrade. Many travelers book the cheap fare thinking they are getting a deal, then get hit with the bag fee at the gate where it costs even more, sometimes $65 or higher. The trap is even worse on international flights. Some European airlines have moved to a model where only a small personal item is included. Your standard carry-on roller bag, the one that fits perfectly in overhead bins, is now considered an oversized bag requiring payment. I have seen travelers pay more for their bag than they paid for their ticket. The fix is to always look at the total trip cost, not just the base fare. When comparing flights, add the bag fees to each option before deciding. Sometimes the more expensive fare with included bags is actually cheaper overall. If you have airline status or the right credit card, your bags are often included regardless of fare class. Check the benefits of any airline credit cards you carry. Many automatically waive the first checked bag fee, which can save you $60 per round trip. And here is a little-known trick. If you have the airline's co-branded credit card and you use it to buy your ticket, the carry-on is often included even on basic economy fares. The airline buries this benefit in the fine print. Call and ask specifically, does my credit card include carry-on privileges on basic economy tickets? Number 3. The same-day change trap. Life happens. Meetings run long. Flights get delayed. Sometimes you need to catch an earlier or later flight than the one you booked. Airlines used to handle this with reasonable flexibility. Those days are over. In 2026, same-day flight changes on many airlines now carry fees ranging from $50 to $75. Even if you are just moving to a flight with empty seats, the airline already has your money. The plane is going to fly anyway, but they charge you for the privilege of switching. What makes this particularly frustrating is that the rules vary wildly by fare class and status. If you bought a full-price economy ticket, same-day changes might be free. If you bought basic economy, changes are not just expensive, they are often not allowed at all. You have to buy a whole new ticket. The agents at the airport know this creates confusion. I have talked to gate agents who say the most common complaint they hear is travelers shocked that they cannot switch to an earlier flight that has dozens of empty seats. The fix is understanding your ticket type before you buy. When booking, look for the change and cancellation policies. Airlines are now required to show these clearly during the booking process. If there is any chance your plans might shift, pay the extra $20 or $30 upfront for a fare class that allows changes. It is almost always cheaper than paying the change fee later. If you have status with the airline, even basic status, same-day changes are often free or heavily discounted. This is one of the biggest benefits of loyalty programs that people overlook. Even the lowest tier of status can save you hundreds of dollars a year in change fees alone. And here is a workaround that sometimes works. If you check in at the airport and ask nicely about an earlier flight, frame it as a standby request rather than a change. Standby policies are sometimes more flexible than change policies, especially if the flight is not full. Be polite, be patient, and ask if there is any way to get on the earlier flight without a fee. Number 4. The Wi-Fi bait and switch. Airline Wi-Fi has become essential for many travelers. Whether you are working, streaming, or just staying connected, that little Wi-Fi symbol next to a flight listing feels like a promise. But 2026 has brought a new category of frustration. Airlines are now advertising Wi-Fi availability but charging premium prices that were not clearly disclosed during booking. The basic messaging package, which lets you send texts and emails, might cost $8. But if you want actual internet that loads websites and streams video, you are looking at $20 to $40 per flight. On a long international flight, premium Wi-Fi packages can exceed $50. What makes this feel like a trap is the way it is marketed. The airline website says Wi-Fi available. It does not say Wi-Fi costs half the price of your ticket. You board the plane expecting to work or watch your shows, then discover that the free tier is so slow it barely loads a web page. Some airlines have started offering Wi-Fi subscriptions that seem like a good deal until you read the restrictions. The monthly pass might only work on domestic flights, or it might exclude certain aircraft types, or it might throttle your speeds after a certain amount of data. The fix is doing your research before you fly. Check the airline's Wi-Fi pricing page, which is usually buried in the customer service section of their website. Know what you are going to pay before you board. If Wi-Fi is essential for your trip, factor that cost into your flight comparison. Some credit cards now include Wi-Fi credits or subscriptions as a benefit. If you travel frequently, look into cards that offer this perk. A $100 annual Wi-Fi subscription pays for itself after just a few flights. And here is a practical tip that many travelers miss. If you need to work on a flight, Download everything you need before you board. Documents, emails, reference materials. Most work can be done offline if you prepare. Save the expensive Wi-Fi for sending finished work rather than trying to browse and research in the air. Number 5. The priority boarding push. You have seen the boarding process turn into chaos. 8 or 9 boarding groups. People crowding the gate before their group is called. Flight attendants pleading for passengers to sit down so they can close the door. Airlines have decided to monetize this chaos rather than fix it. Priority boarding, which used to be a perk for frequent flyers and first-class passengers, is now aggressively sold to everyone. And the prices have jumped significantly in 2026. Priority boarding fees now range from $15 to $40 per flight depending on the airline and route. The pitch is simple: board earlier, guarantee overhead bin space, avoid the stress. But what they do not tell you is that selling priority boarding to so many people has devalued it. When half the plane pays for priority, nobody really has priority. You still end up in a scrum at the gate. The real trap is the fear factor. Airlines have trained passengers to believe that if you do not board early, there will be no room for your bag. This fear drives purchases. But the reality is more nuanced. Bins typically fill up during the middle boarding groups, not the first ones. If you are in group 3 or 4, you are usually fine. The fix is understanding when priority boarding actually matters and when it is a waste of money. On small regional jets with limited overhead space, early boarding has real value. On larger aircraft with spacious bins, it matters much less. If you are traveling with a bag you cannot afford to gate check, like one containing medications or fragile items, priority boarding might be worth the cost. But if you have a flexible bag and a relaxed attitude, save your money and board with your assigned group. The free alternative to priority boarding is checking in early and getting a better boarding position. Some airlines assign boarding groups based on check-in time. If you check in the moment the window opens, you get a better group without paying anything. Number 6. The checked bag weight squeeze. Checked bag fees have been around for years, but 2026 brings a nastier twist. Stricter weight enforcement and higher overweight penalties. The standard checked bag allowance on domestic flights is 50 pounds. 4 years, agents would let you slide if you were a pound or 2 over. That leniency is disappearing. Airlines have installed new digital scales at check-in counters that automatically flag overweight bags. The agent sees a red alert on their screen and has no discretion to waive the fee. The overweight fees are punishing. Going from 50 to 70 pounds typically costs an extra $100 each way. Going over 70 pounds can cost $200 or more. I have seen travelers pay more for their overweight bag than they paid for their entire ticket. On international flights, the situation is even more complex. Many foreign carriers have lower weight limits, sometimes just 40 or 44 pounds. If you pack for American limits and fly a foreign airline home, you could face unexpected fees. The fix is investing in a portable luggage scale. These cost about $10 and fit in your suitcase. Weigh your bag before you leave for the airport and again before your return flight. If you are close to the limit, wear your heaviest items instead of packing them. Boots, jackets, and heavy sweaters on your body do not count toward your bag weight. If you find yourself overweight at the airport, do not panic. Step aside and reorganize. Move heavy items like books, shoes, and toiletries into your carry-on. Many travelers have saved $100 with 5 minutes of repacking at the counter. And remember this for international travel. Always check the baggage rules of the operating airline, not just the one you booked through. Codeshare flights follow the rules of the carrier actually flying the plane. Those rules might be stricter than you expected. Number 7. The lounge access letdown. Airport lounges used to be exclusive sanctuaries for first-class passengers and top-tier frequent flyers. The drinks were free, the seats were comfortable, and the crowds were manageable. That world is gone. In 2026, lounges are so overcrowded that many have started restricting access and raising prices, even for people who theoretically have membership. Here is what is happening. Credit cards have been giving lounge access as a benefit to attract customers. Millions of new cardholders now flood lounges that were designed for thousands. The result is lounges that are standing room only during peak travel times. Some lounges have implemented capacity limits and turned away guests who have every right to enter. The response from lounges has been to raise prices and add restrictions. Guest fees have jumped to $50 or $60 per person. Some lounges have limited the number of guests you can bring to 0. Hours have been restricted, so you can only enter within 3 hours of your flight. And premium credit cards have started removing lounge access as a benefit or limiting the number of annual visits. The trap is buying a premium credit card primarily for lounge access without realizing how degraded that benefit has become. You pay $400 or $500 in annual fees expecting a peaceful place to wait for your flight, then spend your time standing in a crowded room because all the seats are taken. The fix is being realistic about lounge value. If you fly frequently from major hubs during peak hours, lounges might not be worth it anymore. If you fly from smaller airports or during off-peak times, the experience is still good. Consider day passes instead of annual memberships. Some lounges sell day passes for $30 to $50. If you only fly a few times a year, buying passes as needed is cheaper than paying for a credit card with an annual fee. And explore alternatives. Some airports have quiet gate areas that are nearly as peaceful as lounges. Restaurants and cafes in terminals offer comfortable seating if you are buying food anyway. The airport chapel or meditation room, if your terminal has one, is almost always empty and silent. Number 8. The rebooking ripoff. When your flight gets canceled, the airline is supposed to rebook you. And they do, but not always on the flight you want. In 2026, airlines have become much stingier about rebooking options. When a flight cancels, the automated system puts you on the next available flight with open seats in your fare class. The problem is that your fare class might have very limited inventory. There could be a flight leaving in 2 hours with plenty of seats, but none of them are available for your fare class. The system books you on a flight tomorrow instead. This is where the trap springs. The agent at the counter will often tell you that the earlier flight is sold out. Technically, they are correct, it is sold out for free rebooking. But seats exist. You could buy one. And some agents will offer to sell you that seat at a discounted rate, making it sound like a favor. Do not pay for a seat when your flight was canceled. You have rights here. The fix is knowing that the Department of Transportation requires airlines to rebook you on the next available flight at no additional cost. If the agent says the earlier flight is not available for rebooking, ask to speak with a supervisor. Ask specifically, are there seats on that flight that I could be rebooked into regardless of fare class? Sometimes escalating the request unlocks options that the frontline agent cannot or will not offer. If you get rebooked on a significantly delayed flight, remember your refund rights. A delay of 3 hours or more on domestic flights triggers your right to a full cash refund if you choose not to travel. You do not have to accept the airline's rebooking. You can walk away with your money. And here is a tool many travelers do not use. The airline's app. When disruptions happen, the app often shows rebooking options before the counter agents can help you. You can sometimes rebook yourself on a better flight without waiting in line at all. Number 9. The medical device fee creep. This one makes me particularly angry because it targets vulnerable travelers. Airlines are supposed to accommodate passengers with disabilities at no extra charge. For the most part, they do. But some airlines have found ways to add fees around the edges. The most common trap involves mobility device batteries. As I mentioned in previous videos, lithium batteries for scooters and wheelchairs have size limits. What some airlines are now doing is offering battery rental or loaner programs for passengers whose personal batteries exceed the limit. This sounds helpful until you see the price tag. $50 to $100 per flight to rent a compliant battery. Another emerging fee targets oxygen. If you need supplemental oxygen during flight, some airlines require you to use their approved equipment rather than your own portable concentrator. The rental fee for their oxygen setup can run $150 to $200 per flight segment. That is each way, not round trip. The fix is knowing that many of these fees are avoidable with preparation. If your mobility device battery exceeds airline limits, contact the manufacturer about a travel battery before your trip. Many manufacturers sell smaller batteries specifically designed for air travel compliance. Buying one outright is cheaper than renting from the airline repeatedly. For oxygen, Verify that your personal portable concentrator is on the airline's approved list. Most major brands are approved. If yours is approved, you can use it for free. The rental fee only applies if you need the airline to provide equipment. And remember the Air Carrier Access Act. Airlines cannot charge for basic disability accommodations like boarding assistance, wheelchair service to the gate, or stowing assistive devices. If you are asked to pay for something that feels like basic accommodation, push back and ask what regulation requires this fee. Number 10. The upgrade illusion. Everyone wants the upgrade. The email lands in your inbox a few days before your flight. Upgrade to first class for just $99. Sounds like a steal. Business class comfort for the price of a nice dinner. Here is what they do not tell you. That $99 upgrade is for a middle seat in the first few rows with slightly more legroom. It is not lie-flat business class. It is not even premium economy on most airlines. It is the same seat with a few extra inches and maybe a free drink. The upgrade pricing is designed to confuse. Airlines use terms like premium cabin and enhanced seating that sound impressive, but mean different things on different aircraft. On a small regional jet, the premium cabin might just be the first 3 rows of standard seats. On a wide-body international flight, premium cabin could mean an actual suite with a door. The trap is buying an upgrade thinking you are getting the luxury experience, then boarding and discovering you paid $100 for a marginally better economy seat. The fix is researching your specific aircraft before paying for any upgrade. Use a site that shows seat maps and reviews for your exact flight. See what the premium cabin actually looks like on that plane. Read reviews from passengers who have sat in those seats. Also understand the difference between upgrade terminology. First class on a domestic flight is very different from first class on an international flight. Premium economy is different from premium seating. Economy plus is different from extra legroom. Know exactly what you are buying. If you want a shot at free upgrades, the best path is loyalty. Airlines prioritize their frequent flyers for complimentary upgrades. Even mid-tier status can get you moved up when space is available. Consider consolidating your travel on one airline to build status rather than shopping for the cheapest fare every time. Number 11. The food and beverage markup. This is not a new fee, but the 2026 prices have reached absurd levels. A bottle of water on a plane now costs $4 to $6. A basic sandwich is $12 to $15. A cheese plate and a glass of wine can run you $30. Airlines justify these prices by noting that food is optional. You do not have to buy it. But when you are trapped in a metal tube for 5 hours and your blood sugar is crashing, optional starts feeling pretty mandatory. The markup on alcohol is particularly aggressive. A can of beer that costs $2 at a grocery store runs $9 or $10 in the air. Mixed drinks are $12 to $15. And the portions are small. What makes this worse in 2026 is that more airlines have eliminated free snacks entirely, even in regular economy on longer flights. The complimentary pretzels and cookies are gone on many carriers. If you want to eat anything, you pay. The fix is packing your own food. TSA allows solid food through security without restriction. Sandwiches, fruit, granola bars, nuts, cheese, crackers, all of it flies through the checkpoint without a problem. You can bring a full meal from home or buy something after security at an airport restaurant, where prices are high but still lower than on the plane. For beverages, bring an empty water bottle through security and fill it at a fountain or bottle filling station on the other side. Every modern airport has these now. You get free water for the flight without paying $6 for a tiny bottle. If you do want alcohol on the flight, some travelers buy mini bottles at duty-free. Technically, you are not supposed to consume your own alcohol on the plane, but enforcement is inconsistent. Use your judgment. Number 12. The airport shuttle scheme. This one catches travelers who are trying to save money on parking. Many airports offer long-term parking lots with shuttle service to the terminal. The lot itself might be cheap, but the shuttle situation has changed. In 2026, some airport parking operators have started charging separately for shuttle service that used to be included. You see a great daily rate for the lot, book it, then discover at checkout that there is an additional per-person shuttle fee each way. What looked like a $20 per day lot is actually $25 or $30 when you add the shuttle. Other lots have cut shuttle frequency to save costs. The shuttle that used to come every 5 minutes now comes every 15 or 20. If you cut your airport timing close, you could miss your flight waiting for a shuttle that is not coming. And the worst trap. Some lots have surge pricing on shuttles during peak travel days. Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break. The shuttle that normally costs nothing suddenly costs $5 per person because demand is high. The fix is reading the fine print on parking reservations before you book. Look specifically for shuttle fees and shuttle frequency. Check reviews from recent travelers mentioning wait times. Consider alternatives to long-term lots. Rideshare drop-off and pickup has gotten cheaper in many markets. If you are traveling for a week, a round-trip rideshare might cost less than 7 days of parking plus shuttle hassle. And if you do use a lot, build in extra time. Assume the shuttle will be late. Assume there will be a line to board. Give yourself a cushion so a slow shuttle does not wreck your travel day. Number 13. The travel insurance fine print. Airlines now aggressively push travel insurance during booking. It is often pre-selected, meaning you have to uncheck a box to avoid buying it. The coverage sounds comprehensive: trip cancellation, medical emergencies, lost bags. But read the fine print and you will discover how limited these policies actually are. Most airline-sold travel insurance only covers cancellation for very specific reasons listed in the policy. Getting sick is usually covered, but changing your mind is not. A family emergency might be covered, but work conflicts are not. And the reimbursement limits are often lower than you would expect. A policy might cap medical coverage at $10,000, which sounds like a lot until you need an air ambulance. The trap is buying coverage thinking you are protected, then discovering when you need to file a claim that your situation is not covered. The fix is understanding what you are actually buying. If the airline offered insurance costs $15, take 5 minutes to read what it covers. Decide if that coverage is actually useful for your trip. For real protection, consider comprehensive travel insurance from a third-party provider rather than the airline's offering. Third-party policies often have better coverage, higher limits, and more flexibility. They cost more, typically 5 to 10% of your trip cost, but they actually pay out when things go wrong. And know what coverage you already have. Your credit card might include trip protection if you bought the flight with that card. Your health insurance might cover emergencies abroad. Your homeowner's or renter's insurance might cover lost luggage. Before buying any travel insurance, check what you already have through existing policies. Number 14. The currency conversion grab. If you are traveling internationally, this one can cost you hundreds of dollars without you realizing it. When you pay for something abroad with a credit card, the terminal often asks, "Would you like to pay in US dollars or local currency?" This sounds like a convenience. See the price in familiar dollars. But it is a trap called dynamic currency conversion. When you choose to pay in dollars, the merchant or their payment processor sets the exchange rate. That rate is almost always worse than the rate your credit card company would give you. Sometimes significantly worse. I have seen markups of 7 to 10% hidden in these conversions. The fee is invisible. You do not see a line item saying currency conversion fee. You just see a price in dollars that happens to be higher than it should be based on real exchange rates. This trap appears everywhere abroad. Restaurants, shops, hotels, taxis, even ATMs. The ATM will offer to show your withdrawal in dollars. Say no. The fix is always choosing to pay in local currency. Let your credit card handle the conversion. Major credit cards use exchange rates that are very close to the real market rate. Some cards charge a foreign transaction fee of around 3%, but even with that fee, you come out ahead compared to dynamic currency conversion. Better yet, get a credit card with no foreign transaction fees before your trip. Several cards offer this benefit with no annual fee. You get the best exchange rate with zero added cost. And be firm when merchants push back. Some will tell you that paying in dollars is easier or protects you from rate changes. It does not. They want you to choose dollars because they make money on the conversion. Politely insist on local currency. Number 15. The loyalty program devaluation. This is not a fee you pay directly, but it is a cost that hits frequent travelers hard. Airline miles are worth less in 2026 than they were in 2025, and less in 2025 than 2024. Every year, the value erodes. Airlines have quietly increased the number of miles needed for award flights across the board. A domestic flight that cost 25,000 miles 2 years ago now costs 35,000 or more. International business class awards have jumped from 70,000 miles to over 100,000 on many routes. At the same time, airlines have added more restrictions on how you can use miles. Blackout dates have returned in various forms. Popular routes have limited award availability, and the best redemptions now require booking months in advance. The trap is hoarding miles thinking they will be there when you need them. Miles sitting in your account are depreciating assets. Every month you wait, they buy less. The fix is using your miles sooner rather than later. If you have enough for a trip you want to take, book it now. Do not wait for the perfect opportunity while your miles lose value. Also diversify your points across different programs. Hotel points, credit card points, and airline miles each have different values and uses. Keeping all your loyalty eggs in one basket means you are vulnerable to devaluations in that specific program. And stay informed about program changes. Airlines typically announce award chart increases a few months in advance. Follow travel blogs and news sites that track these changes. When you see a devaluation coming, book any trips you were planning before the new rates take effect. Your defense checklist for 2026. Travel in 2026 is a financial obstacle course. Airlines have teams of people whose entire job is finding new ways to separate you from your money. But now you know their playbook. Here is your quick reference checklist. Always check the total trip cost including bags and seats, not just the base fare. Check in exactly when the window opens to get the best free seat options. Weigh your checked bag at home before every flight. Bring your own food and an empty water bottle through security. Never accept dynamic currency conversion when paying abroad. Read the fine print on travel insurance before buying. Use your miles now rather than hoarding them. Know your refund rights when flights are canceled or significantly delayed. Call the Disability Assistance Line for medical accommodation requests. Ask about fees before accepting any service at the airport. The airlines are not going to stop inventing fees. That is their business model now. But you do not have to be an easy target. Every dollar you save is a dollar that stays in your pocket for the parts of travel that actually matter. The experiences, the family time, the memories. If this guide helped you see the travel landscape more clearly, hit subscribe so you do not miss the next update. Share this with someone planning a trip. And drop a comment telling me which fee surprised you most. Safe travels, smart travels, and I will see you at the gate.